Bait and whiff punish.
See, when you're at disadvantage, you just gotta parry.
Shut up.
What does it take to win in Yomi Hustle in particular? Well, there's four main things. You need a lot of knowledge, a bit of luck, execution, strategy. Now, in comparison to other fighting games, Yomi Hustle does not have any real form of execution. The only form of execution in this game is checking your options and your mental state. And because of that, a lot of the practice you're going to put into this game is just to collect as much knowledge as possible. And then using this knowledge is not enough. You need to have a mindset that allows you to develop a plan, a strategy to combine your understanding of the game with this plan that you have, and so you can win. And a lot of the time that is through neutral. You'll be fighting through neutral a lot of this time. And so, what is neutral? Neutral is when neither player has advantage. It's a state you'll be in from the beginning of the game. First, as soon as you start a game, match against someone, you're neutral because both players are equal. What does that mean? Neither player has advantage. They don't have more resources than the other. Their risk reward is relatively the same. And their contest is to go through this neutral. This crossing neutral is like a bridge, and you have to find a way to cross it. And you want to tip a few factors in your advantage to end the neutral and to start winning. Now, what is advantage? So it's just very simple. It's any time where your balance of risk reward and your resources is better than your opponent's. Okay, and technically speaking, it can be achieved in a few ways. And it's also can manifest in a lot of other ways as well. So in those two have its own examples there that should be noted. And so you want to cross from neutral into advantage. Advantage should hopefully give you a combo, and a combo is the best way of depleting your opponent's HP and winning the game on a technical level. And this really goes back to the main point. It's really important to understand how to go through neutral. Now, how do you create advantage? Well, just understanding the game is not enough. You need to have a mindset. And not only just that, your opponent will also be trying to create advantage. So understanding your opponent and what your advantage is will combine to create you a plan that will help you defeat your opponent. And you need to manage your risk reward and resources all at the same time, including your knowledge of the opponent, to create a plan that'll work so you can win. And there's many ways to create this advantage. And since you need to understand your opponent, you'll need to do, or you might benefit from, doing a safe poke. It's a low risk, low reward action. This is my interpretation of it. It's a low risk, low reward action that will force or test your opponent's reaction. Now, how your opponent reacts will tell you about how they play and how they're evaluating the risk and reward and how they want to get advantage. So you combine the information you get about your opponent with your plan to safely cross neutral into your own advantage. Now, there's many different forms of advantage on a technical level. Spacing is like the most universal of all of these, and it's found in every fighting game. Yomi Hustle, of course, spacing is a big deal. just being spaced better can give you better options, make you less punishable. Get more option coverage, less risk, more reward. Maybe it doesn't even need you to expend many resources. And every character has their own optimal spacing. And even like in projectiles are a big part of this game. And so spacing applies to them as well. If projectile hits your opponent within 3 frames, it'll get parried. So you have to space it so it hits after that. And this helps like spacing yourself relative to your opponent and your projectiles. You're using your understanding of your opponent to space yourself because you're trying to move as well. So you combine these two to get advantage just from spacing. And spacing yourself and your projectiles are very important. So it's just the most basic, universal version kind of advantage. And you can combine it with other kinds of advantage so they can stack together and create a situation which is really, really good for you. That maybe you'll be able to guarantee yourself some reward because, like I said before, luck is a part of the game. And another part of advantage is interactivity. If you are able to remove all your opponent's options and guarantee yourself a reward, then that is a great advantage. If they have a lot of counterplay, then your advantage is not as valuable. And so it's good to remove your opponent's options. Now, whenever you do get advantage, rewarded with a combo, and you deal a lot of damage, you want to reset the advantage and keep it going. So in combos, you are in control. There's no execution, like I said. Your only execution is selecting the right options using your knowledge. And your strategy is this. It's to make a situation where your offensive pressure can continue after the combo. You can use spacing, you can use block advantage, and block advantage is very important. It's another form of advantage I forgot to cover. You can use these together and to create an Oki or Okizeme, I believe is the pronunciation. And this will continue your pressure after the combo. So you deal a lot of damage. Now your opponent has to take much bigger risks after this. So you want to increase their risk, diminish the reward, and burn their resources. And immediate is the most common way of resetting pressure after a combo. You hit them on the last frame of their get up, and that forces them to block, and it can generate some block advantage for you. And maybe the spacing will also benefit you. Now, the best kind of OK is a one-sided coin. A one-sided coin is a situation where you're never forced to guess, and you have guaranteed reward, and your opponent has to guess because you can mix them up. Okay, you have options to read their defense. Okay, you have options to gain more reward, but you can just hold your safe option and get guaranteed rewards from it. And I do recommend that a lot of the time. They're very valued because they remove a lot of your opponent's options. They remove interactivity from the question. So even if your opponent is in your head and knows what you're thinking exactly, a one-sided coin removes the advantage because you can just hold and get your reward. So using all this information, you could choose and understand your own playstyle. Like maybe you're fine taking risks, and maybe that'll be part of your playstyle. You like taking risks and you like gambling for a reward. Maybe you like being safe, reducing that risk. Maybe you're fine managing resources, or maybe you aren't. And I also recommend looking at characters' strengths and weaknesses, of course, their best moves. How difficult are they to play? Is it hard to manage risk reward, or is it hard to manage resources? What about both? And you combine all of this information together to not only choose the right character to complement your playstyle, but to also cross this neutral into advantage, and to keep resetting this advantage, keep getting this advantage, and like you use all these forms of advantage together like a team to win. And that's really what it takes to win. Sometimes you can get unlucky, and outplaying your opponent in neutral might not give you the reward you want. You could get guessed out of a lot of things. It's just a flaw of the game, but for the most part, being able to develop the mindset, the strategy you need is a huge part of the battle in Yomi Hustle. Once you get the strategy down and you understand, you have a lot of knowledge in the game, you can combine both of them and overcome any challenge, really. Like only luck can stop you. And even then, it can't stop you for long. Maybe once, maybe twice. But you'll overcome it eventually. It's really what it takes. That's all that it takes to win in Yomi.
رأيت الحقيقة خلف البصر رسمت الحروف بعمق الحجر رأيت الحقيقة خلف البصر رسمت الحروف